Hey everybody, my name's Camille. I'm a pre-med student. I recently took my MCAT this past September. Although we're still in September, I took it on the 13th, 2019. Yes, I know it was Friday the 13th, but I took it anyways. I thought that was the date I was going to be ready to take it, and I couldn't have done it. I literally could have not studied anymore or done anything else that would have changed my fate. So honestly, I'm taking Friday the 13th as a bonus. So I wanted to make this video because I am a second time MCAT taker. This wasn't the first time that I took it. The first time I took it, I had, I think, a lot of things against me. The way I studied, I only really studied high yield stuff. I let the low yield stuff just brush off. I had a tutor who hadn't taken the test in the past 5 years, and so all that he was telling me to study kind of in my brain registered as if, okay, high yield is all you need to know, because he was getting information back from his students that were taking the test, and they were saying that, oh, this high yield was on it, this was on it, or that was on it. So he would say, oh yeah, it's always on so like gluconeogenesis, it's always on the test. It's always on the test. The Krebs side, always on the test. And it wasn't necessarily the case. There were some things that were on my test, but a lot of things were on my test that I did not study because I used what he told me as like a shortcut, as if that was the be all. Like he could, go into the people who made each MCAT's mine, each test, and then tell me what it was. So regardless of that, I would tell someone not to do that. And last, which was probably the biggest thing, was just test anxiety, walking into the test. I am very comfortable with physics and chemistry, like very comfortable. And so when I walked in, I took the test and I started looking at the clock in the right-hand corner, on the upper right-hand corner. I was looking at the clock. And I was like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. Meanwhile, I was not running out of time. I should have been focusing on my test, and I wasn't doing that. So at the end of that section, even though I finished with time, my heart was racing, like I wasn't ready, and I started taking I took probably a full length every couple of days leading up to my test, and so I was in the mindset like, oh, let's just breeze through the test just like that, no breaks, let's keep going. And that was to my detriment. I wasn't able to kind of recalibrate myself and decrease the test anxiety that I had for the first one. And then, lo and behold, my highlighter was not working. When I was practicing during chemistry and physics, I didn't need a highlighter. I only needed the highlighter for cars, and that's how I practice. My highlighter was not working after I didn't take my break or do the tutorial in the beginning, and I continued to do my AMC MCAT. I know. I probably should have raised my hand, but the clock is going. Once I figured that out, the clock was still going. If I raised my hand, waited for someone to come in, the test was still going. Even if they noted it at the end, my test was still going. And cars, you need all the time. You need all the time you can get, really. So I was doing that. So I learned so much from my first exam. So when I took my second time, I had the experience, I knew what not to do, and I knew what I needed to learn how to cope with while taking the exam. So I ended up taking not Kaplan, not a one-on-one tutor. I found this lady, and she does a online MCAT course. So every single day of the week, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays, she'll have group sessions for the other people who are watching via this online portal. And she does like an hour doing psych, so she'll do an hour some other time doing cars, and throughout the week you learn different topics, and there's homeworks associated with that, which you can do or not, which I really strongly advise you do, practice problems. But what I loved about her program is that she went through content based on the AMC guidelines. She would have a topic, And in the corner of her and on the corner of her like whiteboard screen, it would be every bullet point that the AAMC has, whether it's 7A this, 13B this, like she had all the bullet points, and she would make sure, oh, we talked about that. Oh, it's not on the list, so you don't need to know it. And that helped me tremendously. I was able to go back because they were recorded. Every video she had was recorded. So I was able to go back and make sure I had content. So my first tip for you guys is to have a set studying technique. I'm not saying 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day. No. I'm talking about, are you going in person to tutor? Are you going online and tutoring? Are you reading a book? Are you going to, like, what are you going to do? That honestly was key. I needed someone first. The things I would look for if I were to take this again is, if it was an online tutor like I had, do they have the content? When was the last time they took the exam? What are their credentials? How many other people are in this program? What are your success rates? Like, what are your students actually doing? How long does it take for the program? How much prep do you guys want us to put in? Can we call and contact you? This lady had one-on-one sessions, free one-on-one sessions a month to talk with her, as well as there was 3 other people helping her teach these topics, because one person can't do all of it. And her whole, like, I'm going to link her below. Her whole outlook on this test was amazing. So to do your best, you actually have to feel like you're doing and you've put in the work. So my top 3 things that I could tell someone is, number 1 is content. Make sure you know it all. Go through AAMC flashcards, AAMC full lengths, AAMC question banks, question packs. There's so much content just put out by them that the supplemental material, which is what I call it, from Kaplan, Princeton Review, UWorld, it's all stuff to help refine the topics that you're struggling to get. There are some with better descriptions of the answer choices, like A, B, C, D, this one's correct because, this one's not correct because. There's some that do it way better than the AAMC, but regardless, you need to have your content down. Orgo, completely down. Physics, down. Psychology, I can't stress this enough. Psychology, you need to have down. Sociology, more or less, you probably learned it from the TV, but psychology, you gotta know your psychology. There's certain things that you need to just go over, and that's it, like point blank period. Secondly, understand where you're trying to get to, which also takes into account your tutors. Have they taken the exam? Go on Reddit, see what other people are learning. People post they post things like, okay, what am I supposed to learn about this? Or whatever it may be. Number 3 is that you need to do all that you think you can do before the exam and not just give up. Don't just give up. There's no point of just giving up. You need to allot yourself the amount of time to let you do the best when you go and sit in that exam. Just because you decided to rush it is not going to translate into something that you're proud of. Like, you want to walk out of that exam being proud of the work you did. Like, the way I study is that I study as long as it takes, for as many hours as it takes, regardless of if I have to miss some party, some event, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be taking the MCAT again next year. Like, I want to do all that's in my power to get it done and not to take it again. That's it. Like, I've learned that from having to do it a second time around, that I'm done. I want to be able to do good. Like, I'm ready. I can feel it. Like, there's literally nothing I couldn't have studied more. I couldn't have read more passages. I couldn't have learned any more diagrams. I couldn't have slept better the night before. Like, I did everything in my power to get me to that test. Also, to get me feeling that I put in the work. I put in the work. And that's honestly the best feeling, when you are able to put in the work, do what you need to do, even if that requires making sacrifices, and get to where you're trying to go. I don't know if this is like anything that you guys would be interested in, but if you guys want to, I can probably figure out a way to talk to you guys about this test, like say 10-15 minutes, like how you should plan the test or something. I just want to end this on a good note. I think that you guys have all that it takes within you to ace this exam. There's so many people from before you who's passed it, who've gotten grades mediocre, stellar, or in between, and they are now physicians today. So I don't think you should ever think that you're not going to succeed or your score is going to define you, because it's really not. It's really not. I know people who pass their residency with a 492 MCAT going into medical school. You can do anything. You can do anything. I'm sorry for getting like a little preachy, but you can do it. I hope that I was able to help you guys. Please give this video a thumbs up. I am so looking forward to some more future videos, including my score reveal. So you guys put in the good work and the universe will give it back to you. That's it. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good one.